Okay, so welcome everyone. We are ready to start with the rendezvous, and yeah, I think other participants will join us, and we are also going to record the session and make it available on the Urban Farm website. So we'll let now the word to Michele that will introduce the speakers from today.
Hi, Francesco. Hi, everyone. I will be the moderator for today's session, and I'm pleased here to introduce you to Erwin Nolde from Germany, Anka Orzisa. That's correct, the pronunciation. I've tried, and from Romania. They're both involved in the the European projects that were carried on together, and probably it's best if they give a short introduction of themselves and what they're doing right now. And I remember to the speakers that they have about 20-25 minutes for their presentation, and then I will let the words to Anka, so you can introduce a little bit yourself and what you're doing at CUIV as well, and with the foodie project.
Good morning, good afternoon. Here it's after 12 already. Thank you for the invitation. So I will start with the presentation as well, yeah? Not only introducing myself. First of all, I want to say that I'm a bit sick. I have a terrible headache, so I want to apologize for this. I was about to cancel, but I didn't want to cancel it because I understood that afterwards it would have been pretty difficult to reschedule. But I did my best to prepare some slides. It's like a picture journey of our past activities, present and future. So I have a presentation to share, if possible.
Yes, of course. Maybe you can you share your screen?
So I have the option here, share desktop. This is what I have to use.
Yes. And then you select the the window on your desktop that where the presentation is.
But it doesn't appear here. Oh, it's so annoying.
So you have like on the top right, near to the red button, you have an icon with an arrow, which is like share content.
I don't see it.
Look, I'll try to share my screen. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm sharing my screen. Then if I open like the Teams, okay, you see you got this icon. Just that now I'm sharing, so I have like an X. We are supposed to have like an arrow going to the top.
I have the arrow, yeah.
Okay. Now you press that, and then it's supposed to say or share your screen or something like that, and then you can open your presentation.
Let me see what you see now.
Okay, now we see the screen. Yes.
I'm
yes,
sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So
not a problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, I'm sorry again. So I'm Anka. Anka Georgica is the correct pronunciation, if it matters. From Malbine. My background is in ecology and mainly human ecology and ecological economics. At Malbine, we do several projects on capacity building for sustainability. Malbine means for the better in English, and it's an organization founded 12 years ago that today represents the most active local NGO in this field of capacity building for sustainability. We have 4 areas of actions, being referenced as well in the field of green social entrepreneurship. And one of our main projects, permanent projects, is QUIB, which is a so-called foodie pilot. Yeah, it's a bistro from several points of view, the most sustainable bistro in Romania through several dimensions. But today I won't speak too much about it. I will focus on our urban gardening activities as required. So for the ones that do not know or never heard of Iași, here is a map. Iași is located at the very eastern border of European Union, about 1,600 kilometers away from Bologna, and is the second biggest urban agglomeration in our country. Here is a picture of the city center of Iași. For tourists or for visitors, appears as a very green city, but most of the green spaces, not most, all of the green spaces are rather lawns or non-edible and rather recreational spaces. So urban agriculture or urban farming is not at all present, apart from marginal activities that we initiated. And I thought this morning when I started to prepare these slides, these pictures, I thought to divide our activities. I thought about what we have done, and they can be divided in 4 types of activities linked with urban gardening. The ones reflected here, so educational activities, demonstrative gardens we were involved in, community gardens, and more recently production gardens. We started about 5-6 years ago. This is the cover of a first publication, a guide that we made on urban gardening. It was one of the very first national published on this field. So in our first years, we were rather involved in educational activities and very marginal practical urban farming activities. Most of them were not financed. So either we brought, as a grassroots NGO, we either try to find private collaborators, allies, or to bring. There were situations in which we had to bring money from our own pockets to support these activities. Here is a picture from a seed exchange event, and here are pictures from the very first educational activities, workshops. Here was a workshop on, it was called Pimper Balcony, on indoor gardening educational activities. A workshop on how to build hotels for insects. And in the same year, in 2015, we started our first community garden in a green space from public space, from the memorial house of one of the most popular Romanian writers. So we transformed this space with the support of the Romanian Association for Permaculture. And what was important here is not only that we planted several species, we transformed the space and planted several species of edible plants, mainly edible flowers, aromatic plants, but as well trees. We transformed the space and we created a social space for people to be able to gather and create different types of social events and workshops. Here, that was the very first attempt to create a compost bin. In Romania, we barely have a compost law since the previous year, but it's not implemented yet. We don't have yet the procedures. I don't know exactly what are they called to be in place. The law are not yet voted. So the composting activities rely on the initiatives of ourselves or private individuals. So this was our first attempt. I think it was back in 2014. It was not a success at that time. Yeah, it was the waste generated by the bistro. Yeah, there were several motives, several reasons that obliged us to cancel this initiative to compost the waste right next to the bistro. And the main reasons were linked to the public sanitation requirements, let's say. This is how the terrace, our terrace looked in the first years. And this, I don't know how much you can understand. It was our very first design proposal for the garden that we started to implement back in 2013 already. Please, I would be happy if you can interrupt me once in a while if you have questions or not. I can't see if there are questions or not. And maybe I jumped from a project to another, but this is how I was able to
if the participants have some questions, they may raise their hands and we give them the word after your presentation. So if you have questions, please raise your hands with the tools that you have on top of the bar in the Teams. Thank you.
And here there are two pictures with the most ambitious project that we initiated, but again, this was not a success. So that was the plan back in 2015, and we started to work on it in 2016 to create a greenhouse built with natural materials. And most of our, again, it was not a finance project. We tried. We did some fundraising. We managed to raise funds and initiate the project, but we didn't finalize it. I will tell you right away why. But first, to show you some pictures, that there were several I think we organized tens of workshops with hundreds of participants, and it was a long and demanding process, but as well, of course, we learned a lot, and we enjoyed it as well. It was very visible and attracted many visitors and participants. So apart from the greenhouse that we tried to build on this land, it was about 1 hectare. We planted several vegetables, and we had we enjoyed the harvest for about 3 seasons. And we have to stop it. We have to stop it because of again some legal requirements. In Romania we don't have a law that will allow us to build such a house from only from natural materials. I'm not sure if you follow me. The base of the house, what is it called? The foundation. We did it. We tried to do it with this type of materials. You see, stones and cob. Cob, I think, is the name as well in English. And when we tried to raise the walls and to receive the public authorization, we realized that the law wouldn't allow. I mean, no architect will put the stamp on such a construction in Romania because it's not allowed to do it. That's simple and annoying at the same time. So this is we started this in 2017, 2018. We have to bring an end to this project, and then for a while we took a break, or we were not involved, only in maintaining the other urban garden that I showed pictures before, the one from the museum, from the memorial house, and only this year in 2021, in this spring, via Foodie, we had a reboost, or we restarted our initiative in this field, again through several dimensions and approaches. Here, for instance, it's the courtyard of a kindergarten in Iași, where we were invited to support them in developing a garden. And again, with the support of Romanian Association for Permaculture, we created some workshops for the teachers and with the pupils from the kindergarten. We created several raised beds. We planted several trees and different type of vegetables. With the participation of the kindergarten director, as well of the parents. And here are some pictures that we received with recently with the harvest of the garden. And from this initiative, in this autumn, in the third week of November, we are developing now several partnerships with 10 other schools and kindergartens in Iași, and we want to plant this autumn at least 50 fruit trees in these public spaces. So this is a new action that we want to develop. As well, this spring, we started in a place called Food Forest. Food Forest, it's 1 hectare of land located in the heart of the Botanical Garden of Iași. It's a private space. We obtained the right to use part of this space. We organized several workshops with several workshops on urban permaculture, and as well, this is the land that we started to work on in order to create products that we can use in our own kitchen, for our pilot Quib. This is how it looked when we started it. We applied the permacultural methods, again with the help of several participants during several workshops. We developed the garden. Here is part of the theoretical part of the workshop, and some of the participants and our members. And yeah, we were able to use for the very first time, as mentioned, several types of ingredients in our menu, and for us this was a milestone. Another milestone, I don't have pictures anymore. Another milestone this year was that since June, I think it was on 5th of June, it was not a coincidence, but on the Environmental Day, it was the first time that we transported our bio-waste to this garden at Food Forest, and since then we composed all the bio-waste. We transform it in future compost for our garden. By doing that, we'll create a so-called closed production model. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious for what we try to obtain. And again, I don't know how much you understand from the plan, but we barely received this new design plan for our terrace that you saw before, an image of it, and we'll start in November to work on this new plan, and we hope to finish it and to launch it in March next year. It will be really transformed our garden. We'll have over 50 in the terrace is a space of about 50 square meters, not more, but of course on this 50 square meters we have about 40 places for customers, so it can't be, yeah, we have to make space for adequate space for our clients as well. But in this terrace, we'll host about 50 edible plants that we'll use in our kitchen. This is our ambition. So these are my slides. I took some notes, and I will be happy to discuss if there are curiosities on the lessons learned. And there are several other messages for our plans for the future, but I don't know if the time is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was really coherent with the topics of the year's Urban Farm Challenge. So thank you for your presentation. I see that Francesco raised.
Can I stop it, or is stopped already? Or yeah, the screen. Yeah, you don't see it anymore. No, that's it. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. We see ourselves on your screen. Okay, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, so Francesco, please go ahead. I saw that you raised your hands while Anka was talking about the circularity of the system, right?
Yeah.
Was that the picture?
First of all, thank you, Anka, for the very comprehensive presentation and the interesting activities that you have been conducting along these years. I was wondering because you had a high participation of people when like building the greenhouse. So my question was about how did you succeed in engaging them in the activities? What was the way you follow to have them involved in coming? I imagine it was a volunteer work.
Yes. We are known. I will start by the first answer that comes to my mind is that we are known to be good in catalyzing the community. Let's say people know us, but this is not only our merit. As far as I noticed it 5 years ago, 6 years ago when we started, and now again, I think these types of activities really appeal to people. This is what I noticed, and people are looking forward to understand more about the nature, to work with their hands and to escape a bit from the, I don't know, regular urban activities. Maybe, yeah, this is an answer. And again, even though we are popular, this again are not at all popular activities. In such a big city as Iași, I mentioned, it's one of the biggest urban agglomerations in Romania. These activities are still very marginal. We are the only ones that are approaching this type of activities.
So, but technically, did you use like social media to communicate to them about these meetings, or posting them in your bistro, or what was the like when you organize an event?
Again, it depends. Now we use social media. Recently, we had a food waste event, and we sent a press release, and we had a high media coverage. Like the main television invited us, and we appeared on the news. But as well, let's say when, as you mentioned, when it was this hard work for the workshop for the greenhouse, another thing that works, you call your friends. You call your friends and you ask your friends to call other friends, and then people. I mean, you can use different strategies depending on the type of the event.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the question, Francesco. I also have another question for Anka. I saw you showed some of design principles. So I see you're working as well with architects and designers, and this is an interdisciplinary challenge. There would be like mixed teams between architects, engineers, and agronomists, and I would like to know your opinion about working with these architects and what design principle they could foster to implement the circularity and the design of your urban agriculture projects.
So the question is in our experience, or what do I think?
So how do you think it's working with the designers to foster these urban agriculture projects in your cities and in your experience?
I think it depends again on the project, on the context of the project, and if it's a long term, if it's and again the approach. But no matter the project, if it's, let's say, a greenhouse, definitely requires the involvement of several types of experts. But a community garden, or I don't know, 20 square meters transformation of a public space maybe requires less input. But from our experience, I think it's always that successful to succeed and to have a long-term project, a sustainable project. You need to apply this so-called quadruple helix approach, like to involve the experts, as you mentioned, designer, architects, but the community as well, the public authorities, and to understand better the laws. For instance, I mentioned already that we didn't succeed with 2 projects because we didn't know very well the laws until very recently, and still we have to be involved in advocacy. We have to have a lot of advocacy and endeavors in order to change some public laws, because until recently we were not allowed. We realized that we are not allowed to plant edible plants on public spaces in Iași and in Romania.
Okay, thank you. That was very insightful. Thank you, Anka. I think now we can let you rest and hope you get well. Of course, you can stay for the further questions. If there's no other further questions from the public, I would like to invite Edwin Nolde to open the camera and share his screen for his presentation.
Yeah, hello. So I want to share desktop. You can see?
Oh, yes, I can. Yes.
So first, for my person, I am an environmental engineer. And after finishing my study, I worked for about 10 years at the Technical University in the field of hygiene, where I was involved in several water projects. And after 10 years working at university, I thought, or I decided that I think we have a lot of tools, and now it is the goal to bring it into practice. And then I founded my own engineering office. So I am here in FoodE a partner as an SME partner. So, as I said before, the main objective is the water topic. But for about 7, I think it was 7 years before, I was asked to be partner in the roof water farm project. And the roof water project, this is here, you can see it here, was how to use recycled water for food production. So, and for my opinion, I think it's very good to produce food local, but I think we should use local resources for food production. And for in our office, we say wastewater is a resource. It is a very good resource for fresh water. It is also a resource for nutrients, and it is a resource for energy. And what we need for urban agriculture is, so I think, so this is a presentation. We usually always have a lot of visitors in our pilot plant. Our pilot plant, there are 2 places in the same area. The first thing is where we have the water recycling, and the other thing is behind this wooden house. You can see here on the slide behind them is a small greenhouse with about 50 square meters. So first, for the students, I want to explain what is behind it, why we are doing this. As we all know, for food production, we need water, nutrients, and energy. And how much water we especially needs depends on where we are and what kind of technology we use. For example, producing tomatoes, I found in literature, it is We are talking about virtual water. In Spain, where it's very hot, to produce 1 kilogram of tomatoes, at least they need for about 48 liters per kilogram. The Netherlands, they have very advanced technology, water saving and so on. They only need 2 liters. In Germany, it's about 9 liters. Water is one topic, but the other thing is the fertilizer. Usually, if we are talking about wastewater treatment, we need a lot of energy to remove the nitrogen from the wastewater. And the other point is, so in the wastewater treatment, we need a lot of energy to make from ammonia nitrate and then going back into nitrogen gas to the air. And on the other side, for agriculture, we need a lot of ammonia fertilizer, and this also needs a lot of energy. So the question is, can we use wastewater, or how we can deal in a different way with wastewater to use these nitrogens in a more efficient way? This is for nitrogen. So for example, to produce 1 kilogram of nitrogen, you need more than 4 kilograms of 4 liters of oil. This is very energy, a lot of demand of energy you need. The other thing is phosphorus. The phosphorus reserves, they are limited. So the researchers say that the peak phosphorus will be in 2030. And yeah, and I'm sure you know, but not everybody knows that phosphorus is a limited resource, and no life on Earth is possible if we don't have more phosphorus. So usually phosphorus, we take it up by eating vegetables or meat. And phosphorus came out mainly with our human urine. And yeah, we have to recycle this. The other thing is potassium. Potassium also is energy intensive, and it makes a lot of problems. What you can see here is not potassium. It is another salt which is beside the potassium, and it makes the groundwater and the lakes in the near very salty. This is also a big problem. So at least all these nutrients, phosphorus, nitrogen, and potassium, at least they go to the ocean, and from the ocean there is no ticket back to use. So I think maybe it's too much to go into all the details. It is very important for the water cycle that we have a lot of green in the city, in the area, to have high transpiration and to have a better feeling, to cool the city. And so on. We can cool it with plants, with flowers, and so on. But we also can use it, can do it with eatable plants. So I think our colleagues in Andernach, they have permaculture. They showed us how we can do this. Yeah, the conventional wastewater management. With a few of the permaculture farmer, I think if you're looking to the sewer, it is a red breeding station. As I told before, the treatment plant, the wastewater treatment plant and water distribution needs a lot of energy. For example, the Berlin Waterworks, they need as much energy than a city of 300,000 inhabitants for the household demand. So you can see, and on the wastewater side, we are not on the safe technology and a good technology. Need a lot of energy and not producing compost, but everything goes to the environment. Even the water which comes out from the treatment plant is not can be used for irrigation because of the hygienic aspects. The water which comes out from the municipality wastewater treatment plant, it's not allowed to swim. there. So a lot of problems, and so we are dealing with rainwater harvesting, rainwater evapotranspiration to cool the areas, and our main topic is grey water treatment, including wastewater from kitchen and laundry, black water treatment, to reuse the nitrates for safe food production, and also grey water for heat recovery. So this, I think, time is running. I have to go fast to the details. We developed things, how we can use the rainwater, take out the rainwater from the sewer, treat the rainwater, and use it for irrigation and toilet flushing in these buildings, using the rainwater which comes from roofs, courtyards, roads, going to a rainwater reservoir, have a biological treatment plant. This is the biological treatment plant. It was in-house, having UV disinfection, and then use the water for irrigation and toilet flushing. So here we can save a lot of water, and we can have, this is a good thing for the environment, because not the polluted water goes to the receiving streams, only cleaned water. So the quality of this treated water is very good. And now coming to the roof water farm project. Here you can see this was the house. It is from the perspective the reed bed here, which is for evapotranspiration of rainwater, and later also for the treated grey water. This is about 1,000 square meters. This is about 100 square meters, and the greenhouse is about 50 square meters. So using rainwater, in this case, we are using rainwater from a roof size about around 3,500 square meters. All the rain goes into this reed bed, and if you have evapotranspiration by the reed, you can cool the area. You have a better microclimate. And so, as I said, grey water is a resource for water and heat energy, and black water is the water which comes from toilet, is a resource for energy, for biogas and nutrients. And I think we should first, like the Circular Economy Act in Germany, which deals with solid waste. That means first thing, we have to avoid waste. Second is we have to reduce it. Then we have to recycle it, and only a little amount should be disposed. And so this is the same what we propose for wastewater. And we propose that there should be no new building without separating black water and grey water. Because if you don't separate it, you can see it here with the solid waste. If you put compost and paper and glass into one box, there's no possibility to recycle it. Because nobody wants to use compost with glass, or nobody will recycle the paper if compost is in that. So the separation started in the building, and here we can see the resources. In the black water we have a lot of nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium, and grey water is much less, has much less concentration of nutrients, but it's a lot of water. And because the grey water which comes from shower and bathtub has had a lot of energy, because this water is warm, in several cases we use this heat which is in the water, we take it out, and we use this for preheating the cold water before it goes to the boiler. So the potential for heat recovery from grey water is much bigger than the potential of earning biogas from the wastewater. Here you can see the black water. This is sieved. The black water comes from toilet, and from the toilet water in the roof water farm project, we made a liquid fertilizer we called gold water. This was we use this gold water for food production. Later we can see some pictures. This is the grey water, the sieved grey water, and after treatment it is very clean. It has no smell, there are no sediments inside, and usually people couldn't see a difference to drinking water. But there is, if you go to the lab, there is a little difference, of course. So the next picture I can see, I can go over. The greywater treatment plant, here you can see the old greywater treatment plant, the existing, it's still existing. We built it in 2007, and in the Food E project, we have a budget to make this new, because after that had been running more than 15 years, we had some experience how to make things better, how to make things more compact, and and a little bit more efficient than it is. But the treatment process is only running biological. We don't add chemicals to the process. The treatment is done by bacteria. The bacteria are mainly sitting on the foam cubes, on the surface of foam cubes or inside the foam cubes. You can see it if we are looking into the basin. And the water which comes out has a very good quality. In the Roof Water Farm project, we use it for fish farming, and we also use it here for irrigation, as well as the gold water which comes from the toilets. Here from the black water, here again these pictures. This was a treatment plant to produce the liquid fertilizer from toilet waste, and here you can see the plants. At least our colleagues, they made big research to see what is the quality of food production if we use recycled water and we use recycled black water. And the result was, as we did it in this way, there was no difference between the products we produce to the products which you can sell on the marketplace. So even gold water is a safe liquid fertilizer, but at the moment we don't have the permission to sell this because from our law, all fertilizers, they had been listed and tested, but the big lobby of fertilizer production, they are against us, and they don't make it easy for us. So at least we are on the way to remove the Blackwater treatment plant and build here on the other side a new greywater plant. This is planned in the Food E project, and I think the planning is nearly finished. Now we are on the way to realize what we planned. Maybe as I said before, the conventional wastewater treatment is very energy intensive. Now, if we use the gray water, which comes from bathtub and shower, which is the normal way, we only need about 1.4 kilowatt hours for the treatment, for heat recovery, and so on the water distribution. We put in 1.4 kilowatt hours per cube meter, and we earned about between 10 and 15 kilowatt hours of heat, which also can be used in the greenhouse, of course. And we earn about 1,000 liters of high quality service water. This is what we are always working on. I think knowing is not enough. We must apply, and willing is not enough. We have to do, and this is in many cases not so easy. So I think I have some more minutes, and I will give you a short. Will show you some pictures about the greenhouse. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is the greenhouse, which is behind our so-called water house. Here we use apple flood desk to produce lettuce and so on. You can see. I'll go shortly over it. This is the beginning. We started in March last year with the small plants. So for what I would have to say. For the greenhouse, my colleague Grit Burgo is responsible. She is from the Technical University of Berlin, and they are operating the greenhouse. So yeah, during Corona times, we have less visitors. Usually we have weekly visitors coming from school and coming from everywhere. And so the Technical University, there's a startup. They produce these vertical beds for food and herbs production. Yeah, you can see it. So now we installed a PV, a photovoltaic element to pump the water to these columns. Yeah, here you can see it is more for showing here at the moment, to teach people, to teach students, to give them ideas how they can deal. This is not the real commercial plant. It is yeah. So you can see. Also, sometimes we have TV on our treatment plant. Thank you. So that's it. So I think I am in time.
Yes, thank you, Erwin. I think your presentation was really interesting. I would have a billion of questions, of course, but I would let, if there's any of the participants, if you have any questions, please raise your hands. Okay, so I would, if you don't mind, Erwin, I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Welcome.
Yes, so I think it's a really interesting way to recover wastewaters from, the effluents of the urban environment. And gray water and black water are, of course, resources and not just waste. Mm-hmm. Concerning the use of gray water as irrigation water, I would like to know if you tested like the plants, if it's used for foods, if they have any if there's the concentration or higher concentration of heavy metals in the plants or in the food that you produce, because mostly when you use gray water, you have to pay a lot of attention to the bioaccumulation of heavy metals. So have you tested the food? Have you seen if there are any high concentrations of heavy metals, or if they're not?
So first of all, when we started with water recycling, we sat together with the German Ministry of Health, and we have to declare what kind of quality requirements we should fulfill. And the first topic we always discuss is the hygienic part. So how many bacteria are in the water? And it was more than 20 years before when I did this research at the Technical University. And we did all these things looking to several bacteria, and at least we came to the conclusion, together with the Ministry of Health, that from the hygienic point of view, the treated gray water, so treatment is always necessary. Point. This is the first point. And then we have to make sure that the quality requirements from the hygienic point, that we are better than the EU guidelines of recreational water. EU guidelines of recreational water means that we have full contact with our body with this water for a longer time. Sometimes we drink a small amount of water, and we are breathing in the aerosols when we are splashing in the water. And we said we should be always better. So, for example, looking to E. coli. E. coli is coming from fecals. So if we are using drinking water for irrigation or something else, there are not a single E. coli is in about 100 milliliter of water. This is the EU guidelines. I think this is in every country the same. So the guidelines for recreational water, they means not 0 E. coli. They said 1,000 of E. coli can be accepted, and if we are lower, nobody will become ill if they are swimming in the water. So we have our requirements are less than 1,000, and in the practice we are less than 10 always. So we are very close to drinking water quality. So this is first from the point of hygiene, and for the water quality of the recycled grey water, of course, we made a lot of lab testing, and we fulfill all the requirements of drinking water except from the hygiene part. As I said, we are not zero. Usually we have 1 or 2 or 3 E. coli in 100 milliliter. But all other points, the heavy metals, and so we are in the same range than drinking water quality, or it's nearly the same. Okay. So the other point is how we deal with micro components, for example, medical components. So in grey water, usually the medical components, they are mainly in the fecals and they are mainly in the urine, not in the grey water. And we did a lot of research in the roof water farm project, and we saw that the water quality which comes out from our water recycling plant is much better than the water quality in the environment, in the Berlin environment. And so even for fish production, if I would be a fish, I would prefer to swim in our water, but I'm not sure if fish likes to be in a basin instead of a pond.
Yeah, of course. Okay, that was really interesting, and that raises a second question, which is if you ever made or a survey or a study concerning the possible skepticism of a population to use treated wastewater for irrigation. So if you have an idea how the urban population could react to wastewater, to the use of treated wastewater for the irrigation of their crops.
Yeah, this is an important point, yeah, maybe. So we have, I didn't show it here in the presentation. We have 2 flat discs, yes, and one was operated with the treated grey water, and the other was operated with the treated black water. And when the first lettuce, we could harvest it, then we said, yeah, everybody can take the lettuce which he wants, and first I not go to the plant where we have the recycled toilet water. So I feel myself that if you know where the water comes, that is not fresh water, you are not sure if this is good. And then in the second step, I have it in my mind, and I ask myself why I don't go to the desk where we have the gold water. And I think this is a point you pointed out. Yeah, as I told before, as I said before, that the quality is the same. Sometimes maybe it's better. Because in this case we don't use pesticides and so on.
Definitely.
But it is a point. So for example, if you buy some fish and when it is offered that everybody sees this is fresh water, this is in the mountains, in the environment, yeah, then they will prefer it. But if you have, for example, if you have aquaculture and so on, this is not fresh water. And yeah, we fulfill all the requirements. And the water quality is, as I said, very close to drinking water. What you want more?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, it's all about also communication, I guess.
Yeah, and also we so in in this phase of research, we are not allowed to sell the products because it was a research project. But we offered it to the people who are living in this area for free. And we ask them, please test it. And we always get positive feedback.
Okay.
And even in the project, we made a blind testing. We had cucumbers. One were planted conventional with fresh water and fertilizer, and the other coming from the gold water. And at least the gold water, the recycled water, was more positive than the other.
Okay. Okay. Well, Edwin, thank you very much. I see we have another question here. I think you made your point very clear, and I appreciate that. So thank you again, Emanuele. If you want to proceed with your question.
Yes, I'll try to be quick. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I was just wondering, I was reading a few weeks ago an article about microplastics and the source, but the main source of microplastics from urban areas, of course, is wastewater treatment plants, because it is totally untouched by the classical treatments that are present in the wastewater treatment plants. I was wondering if you were thinking about testing the wastewater, the black wastewater, also for microplastics, because there is also a problem. There might be a problem of bioretention in fishes, for example, if you do aquaculture and you use water coming from wastewater treatment plants. There might be an issue with that. I don't know if you thought about exploring that, testing on a wastewater for microplastics.
Yeah, we don't have tested our recycled water for microplastic. But first, if we will use it for food, for plant production, plants are not take up microplastic.
Yeah. That's why.
But you ask for fish.
Yes.
First, we haven't tested it, but I didn't show it in detail. But our water is filtrated,
Okay.
and so we have an online measurement because it's a research project to see what is the turbidity in the water. So microplastic is always have some particles.
Yes.
Yeah? And sure. We can see turbidity in drinking water by law is less than 1 turbidity unit, and we are always less than 1 turbidity unit.
Okay.
So
okay.
Because the final station is a sand filtration, and I'm not sure because we didn't tested it, but I believe that there are really no microplastic inside in this water which coming out.
Okay. So you're using as an indicator and as an indirect indicator the turbidity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but turbidity also is not the microplastic. It's also
it's general,
some biological parts
sure.
coming from the treatment plant. And maybe it's also interesting, the micropollutants. Maybe you know acesulfam. Acesulfam is a sweetener. It is in all limonade, Coca-Cola, where you have the 0-calorie products. It is in toothpaste, it's in yogurts everywhere. And the researchers, they said that acesulfam is non-biodegradable in wastewater treatment plants. And so they want to use it as a tracer for their plants. So you can see, so the amount of acesulfam which comes into a wastewater treatment plant in the city is every day nearly the same.
Okay.
And then they said, if it is not biodegradable, if we have some days which we have less, then we can see there is much rain coming also into the sewers, because this is diluted. And so from our and so we tested our effluent to acesulfam, and it was not showed in detailed in my slides. The biological treatment of our wastewater has several steps. We have 10 basins in line, or 7 basins in line. And then we found out that after the 6th basin, there is no acesulfam inside, because we are the microbiological treatment, the bacteria, they learned how to deal with some chemical compounds, and so on our treatment plant, acesulfam was biodegradable. We also see that we can remove a lot of ibuprofen or all these medical compare compounds in a biological way.
Okay. So micropollutants.
Yes.
Kind of. No, okay, that's good. Okay, thanks. Thank you so much.
Thanks for these questions.
Okay, thank you, Erwin. Thank you for asking them. I think it's if there's not any other questions, maybe Francesca, would you like to tell some final words to this?
Thanks a lot, Michele. Thanks, Erwin, and thanks, Anka, for being with us today. It was a very interesting workshop that might provide some good ideas also to the teams that are involved in the challenge of Urban Farm 2022. So thanks a lot for your availability, and see everyone in the upcoming student rendezvous.
Yes, which I remind you, it's on the 3rd of November, next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye to
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.